Hey, I'm Ben and I put out new adventure motorcycle content every week, so if you want to see more videos like this, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Tonight we're taking a look at Honda's new Transalp Array 700. So we've got the website pulled up right here. Oh, wait, nope, sorry, that is the Tenere 700. My mistake here. Let's go to the Honda website. And here it is, the Transalp Array, or wait, nope, sorry, Transalp. And I think, actually, wait a minute. No, I think this is a 750, right? Yeah, there it is. A little grainy, but I think you can see it there. The Transalp 750 definitely looks a bit like the good old T7 here, which if you guys are unfamiliar, I do have one of these in my garage that I absolutely love, and that's kind of why I'm super excited to sell it and buy a Transalp 750, which is the plan right now. But we've got to look over some specs here just to make sure that this new bike is going to fit me and my riding style. The front end just... Some people think the Tenere 700 looks goofy, and I guess I can understand where that point of view comes from, but... The rest of the bike honestly looks beautiful, and it doesn't look quite as much like a Africa Twin as I had hoped. I think that's probably the most beautiful adventure bike out there. Speaking of looks much better, let's flip this over to the black here. This looks much, much, much better, and a bit more like the all-black Africa Twin, actually. Obviously, we'll need to put some sort of protection on the bottom here. If you guys haven't seen my videos, I plan on taking this on some possibly intense single track and some more kind of flowing single track, and this will definitely need to be protected on those trails. And I'm not seeing a good place to put a skid plate. They've got factory options that we'll take a look at, but I'm not sure where they're bolting that to. The Tenere 700 has these little miniature frame rails that are actually replaceable, which is sort of nice. It'll tell you in the owner's manual for this bike that you are not supposed to jack the bike up by the skid plate or the cowl, where over on the Honda side here, it looks like, I guess I don't know where you jack it up by, I suppose underneath the sump on the motor, if this pipe is kind of off to the side. Yeah. Oh, what? What is that? Ugh. Is there oil in there? Yikes. Anyway, so back to the looks of this thing. I think with some modifications, it will look a little bit more like an adventure bike. Right now, it looks a lot more like one of these. And I guess maybe that's what Honda was going for. These bikes, I think, are fairly popular, and people try to turn them into off-road bikes, and I think any bike really can be an off-road bike, and I shouldn't say it that way and degrade the people that are probably having a blast on these off-road, but it's just not gonna quite be the same as this bike. I mean, if you're not having to worry about your exhaust pipe getting bent into your swing arm and your exhaust pipe bracket being broken off of your subframe, well, I mean, you're just not having fun. Put these screens off here and compare specs to see, like I said, if this bike is gonna do what I need it to do. There we go. Whoops, nope, that isn't right. There we go. I know how to computer. Specifications and price, even though it doesn't actually list the price anywhere. My guess would be it's going to be somewhere right around there. Probably a little bit more, maybe more like 11 something, but I guess we'll just have to see. What I usually look at right away is going to be the seat height. Since I am a slightly shorter rider, I'm 5'10" with a 31-inch inseam, so this 34.4-inch seat height with kind of a wide seat really does make it a little bit difficult to get to the ground. Now, obviously, as you build your confidence, you can easily outride that and not have to worry about it. Seat height here, which of course is in millimeters, but if we use the power of maths, as they say across the pond here, where the Transalp is now available, or soon will be anyway, before we get it, I'm sure, then we can figure out by a little bit of decoding here what This would be in the good old US of A. 33.46 inches, so an inch shorter. And if the seat's a little bit thinner, it might be a lot easier to get to the ground on this bike. And the other thing that makes these bikes a little bit difficult for a shorter rider is going to be the curb weight, which we've got in kilograms over here. 208 kilograms is 458.56 pounds. And the Tenere 700 is clocking in right at 452 pounds. So depending on the accessories you stick on it, I mean, you're going to be looking at just about the same weight, maybe a little bit more. What is the fuel capacity? 16.9 liters. .4 gallon tank, which is I think about what the Tenere 700 is, right? 4.2. Ooh, a whole 0.26 gallons more. And I'm not sure why the Tenere fuel consumption is still to be determined. Honda apparently already knows that it's going to get 23 km per L, which is about 54 miles to the gallon. I think if I rode the T7 nice, I would probably get 54, maybe even a little bit more. But I probably get more around like 45 to maybe 50 on a easy riding day. What else can we look at here? So ground clearance, 210 millimeters. 8.26 inches of ground clearance, where the Tenere 700 has more than an inch more. Like almost an inch and a quarter more. That's not great. That's going to be maybe dragging the belly of this thing. And this is ground clearance with the cowl. Over on the Honda side, I'm betting, oops, what happened? Come back. I'm betting that is, or I guess rather, that is probably the bottom of the pipes. So that's going to be a little rough. Moving on, we've got the steel diamond frame, which, I mean, sounds great, I guess. I don't know what the heck steel diamond is, diamond steel is, but good for them, I guess. I don't know. Good marketing term, I suppose. I'm not too interested in wheelbase, but I think this one was just a little bit shorter, if I remember right. .61 versus 62.8. Yeah, so the T7 is just a hair longer in the wheelbase. I don't know. Not too worried about that. This trail, I'm not sure what this is. 111. So 4.37 versus, what was this? 4.1. I don't know what that is. Somebody else let me know in the comments. What is the trail about? Anyway, the other really important thing that I like to take a look at along with all of this stuff is going to be the caster angle, or the rake. So on the T7 side, we've got 27 degrees. On the Honda, we've got 27 degrees as well, which is awesome. And the reason that that makes a difference is if you think about trying to steer directly down on a tire through sand, that tire is going to be fighting you and fighting the sand and making the general feel of the bike very twitchy and not very floaty in sand or mud. Where if you think about a tire kind of slung out in front of you that you can kind of more or less kind of flop around in the sand, it's going to be a lot easier to control the bike. It's not going to be such a jarring ride. It just makes everything a lot easier. And if you look at actual dirt bikes, that's usually where the tire is, way out in front of them. It just makes it a lot better for off-road riding. And I've certainly noticed that on the Tenere 700 compared to even my Gen 3 KLR 650, but definitely my Gen 2 KLR 650 and my dad's XC800 Tiger, which has like a 23 or 24 degree rake. That extra couple degrees really makes a big difference, and I was very happy to see this number. Now let's go over to some numbers here that I was not so happy to see, and I'm not sure why these are under wheels. I guess it's going to be the wheels that are moving up and down. I think the chassis title head over here makes a lot more sense. But if we look at the suspension travel up front on the T7, we've got 8.3. Over here again, we've got something in a foreign language. But if we go to our decoder here, what's happening? It looks like the Honda is going to be crunching the forks a little bit. Now, I know suspension travel is not everything. A suspension setup that is properly damped is going to be much better than something that has a lot of travel and is improperly damped. The suspension travel on the T7 is good, but because you can't actually adjust the preload on the front, doesn't really help for a heavier rider. You can adjust the damping on the front, but I've pretty much got mine cranked all the way up and I still bottom it out all the time. And that's really just where an upgraded set of shocks with high and low speed damping comes in handy. Moving to the back here, we've got 190. Why is my keypad not working? Which equates to 7.48 inches. And on the Tenere 700 side, we are a little bit closer, but still less, basically a half inch less. Not great. As far as the wheels go, we're right on par with the T7, 2118, 2118. So that's a good thing. That's just kind of standard for an adventure bike. Now let's go over to some numbers that are gonna look just a little bit better on the Honda side here. So the Tenere 700, I do not understand why manufacturers do this. They give you all this great information about the exact number of cc's you're getting, the bore and the stroke, and the compression ratio. And yes, of course, it's fuel injected. Everything has to be now. It's got the 6-speed manual transmission, which this one did too. I don't know where it said that, but both of them will have the 6-speed. Where are the horsepower numbers? Where is the torque? How would you not have that listed on your website, and why would you not have that under engine? I don't know. That just seems like the goofiest thing to me. But I know the Tenere 700 has a claimed horsepower, I believe, at the crank of 74, I believe, 74, 75, 76. I think I've seen a couple different numbers out there. At the wheel, it's probably more like 60-something. I've got the Two-Wheel Dyno Works ECU reflash on mine, which cranks it up a few horsepower, but somewhere around 70-ish, I would guess. Where over on the Honda side here, of course, we've got this in a foreign language, 67.5 kilowatts, which equates to 90.5 horsepower. So that's 20 horsepower more than the Tenere 700. That is definitely going to be noticeable and is super exciting. Compression ratio is slightly less, which kind of surprises me. I mean, I guess we've got, I suppose, quite a few extra cc's on the Honda side. But I think, I mean, I don't know how much the 0.5 is going to make a difference, but technically lower compression ratio, longer life out of the motor. And Honda definitely does have a good reputation for reliability. Honestly, don't really know if any of this means anything to you guys. Doesn't really mean anything to me. LED headlights, that's cool. Be nice if they do LED taillight. I wonder if that is. Does it look like it's an LED? Oops, what happened? Where'd my cool rotating thing go? Come back. It might be LED. Let's switch that back to black. Much better. So the reason that I sort of jokingly referred to this as the Transalp or a 700 to begin with is just that it really does look like they essentially tried to copy what Yamaha, I guess, did or couldn't quite do, since these still are not even on the shelves and able to be flying off of them. But I think in general, it seems like most motorcycle manufacturers are kind of trying to hit what Yamaha did with the Tenere 700. It seems like maybe Honda may have missed a few things with the ground clearance, and man, yeah, this pipe does, this is probably the catalytic converter actually, looks a lot closer to the ground than the skid plate does on the T7. That's gotta be rough. But it really does seem like they kind of got as close to the mark, I think, as I guess I could have expected Honda to. It is definitely a bike that I'm excited about. Definitely excited to see what I can do about this exhaust, so I don't have to worry about this snapping off. It does seem like this got attached to the passenger peg here rather than a giant 12-inch piece of steel that's welded onto the subframe. So at least this will be replaceable when we bust it off. But really, all in all, definitely a good-looking machine. I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed that the drive sprocket is way down here rather than way up here like it is on the T7. There it is. And the reason that I say this is because this bike has something called anti-squat rear, meaning that when you hit the throttle, this setup actually pulls the tire down and sort of jacks the rear end up almost like a shaft-driven motorcycle would, and that makes this thing an absolute monster. Off-road it, you can just instantly light that rear tire up to power slide around the corners. It makes doing that so easy. Having this anti-squat rear out on the road makes this an absolute wheelie monster. Of course, the power has to be there to get that front tire off the ground, but this is just a wonderful setup, and I just love it, and I think I might be a little bit disappointed. I feel like this is going to be a lot more like the KLR because of this, but maybe that 90 horsepower will make that up. But I have to say, in general, I am super excited for this bike. Did I show the gray yet? I don't think I did. Definitely looks better in black, I think. So it looks like we've got some packages here, but I think maybe we can get this stuff individually as well. So what do we have? A zip tie. Cool. An easy deflector kit, which I think must be these. And then I guess, is that a deflector too? Here we've got the engine guard kit, which I'm not sure what that is. Looks just like crash bars to me. And then we got the fog light kit here. Got some knuckle guards. I don't know if that's metal or if that's plastic. If that's plastic, that is an absolute joke, and you should be embarrassed, Honda. Guards in black. And we've got the radiator guard that, of course, has to say Transalp on it. Got the main stand, which I guess must mean the tail rack there. We've got some tank side stickers in blue. Great looking. And some side pads in black, and some other things in gray. And there is our skid plate, which does look a little bit more like a cowl than a skid plate. They do call it a skid plate, though. 2.5 millimeters thick. Yeah, so that's not very good, I don't think. Not horrible, but not going to do much. Not going to be something that I will be purchasing. I will definitely be looking to some of my aftermarket suppliers to get me something to test out for that instead. Got our wind deflectors again. Front side pipe. These? Okay. Grainy picture of the engine guard, which looks like a side engine guard, not a bottom engine guard. Can't tell what's going on there. Knuckle guards again. Lots of knuckle guards. Some goofy little wind deflectors there. Comfortable pegs for your passenger. More wind deflectors. Is that what that is? Or what are they talking about? Attached to the windscreen to improve. Yeah, so it must be these. Okay, whatever. Tall windscreen. Should be stuck forward. Low seat. That's good. 20 millimeters lower, which is almost an inch lower. Wow, so that means... What is the seat height? Man, this thing's going to be 32 inches? That's going to be awesome. Heated grips. Yeah, I'll probably stick the Tusk grip heaters on it, but look at this control pad here with that giant screen on this thing. Be able to play Mario on it. And we got the 12-volt socket, lights, more lights. I don't really care. What else do we have? Design. What's under design? Oh my God, what's happening? Apparently some wheel stripes. I don't know what they did with their picture here, but I don't think that's right. And there's the wheel stripes in gray. Okay, great. What else do we got? Luggage. Okay, great. A whole bunch of stuff that I don't need. Performance. Let's see what we got for performance. Ooh, some performance rally pegs for 100 quid. Is that what that is? Definitely look nice and thin and real pokey and wide and stick out quite a bit. So, yeah. Pokey and stick outy and wide. Great. That's how foot pegs should be. What else we got? The quick shifter, and this thing actually has a slipper clutch in it as well. So that's all going to be pretty interesting, and this might actually be something that I would be willing to test out. I don't know what this is going to cost. I would think probably quite a bit, but if you guys have not looked into these, I think they're definitely worth looking into. I'm not the guy to explain it to you, but essentially I think you don't have to use your clutch to shift, and I'm not sure if this is quite the same thing. I don't think it's exactly like a Recluse clutch is, but those you don't even have to let off the gas. These I think you probably do, but I'm not sure what this auto blipper function is about. Smooth and instant shifting. I don't like my bikes automatic, but this definitely seems kind of cool. all in all, I would say this is a great looking machine. I'm excited to get it and make that windshield stand up so I can get that awesome buffeting effect like the T7 provides. I think it'll just look a lot better though. But really a good looking bike. I think Honda did hit the mark. Maybe missed it or got close to it on some of the kind of lackluster dimensions that I outlined. But in general, I think this is definitely maybe not going to be a game-changing bike, since I think that's what the T7 was, and this is kind of flying maybe a little bit under that radar. But depending on the price and depending on how this thing feels when you ride it, and judging by every other Honda that I've been on, I think it will feel good. I don't know if it will feel as exciting as the T7, but with that 20 more horsepower, I think, man, this is going to be a fun bike to ride. Depending on how it's geared and everything, I guess we'll just have to see. So if you guys want to see me out on one of these bikes, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you guys want to check out some T7 videos, don't be afraid to check out the channel. I've got a lot of them out there. Until next time, guys, take care, stay safe, stay swanky, get out, enjoy this beautiful world any chance you get. And if you can't do that right now, here's some more videos to check out in the meantime. Can't wait to have that in the garage. Just gonna have to do something about that front end. Ugh.